They say every city has places you should avoid at night. Dark alleys, empty bus stops, lonely stairwells. But parking garages, they're the worst. I never believed those warnings. Not until the night I stayed late at work. It was Halloween night. Most people had already left the office. The building was quiet. I shut down my computer, gathered my things, and told myself it would just be a quick walk to the car. The garage was attached to the office tower, 7 levels, dimly lit. Always smelled of damp concrete and exhaust. When I stepped inside, my footsteps echoed too loudly. Each step bounced back at me, sharp, hollow, like I wasn't alone. I laughed under my breath, told myself I was being paranoid. But then I noticed something. Every other car was gone. Rows of empty spaces, just shadows stretching across the painted lines. And mine was all the way at the far end, on level 4. The elevator ride felt longer than usual. I kept staring at the glowing numbers above the door. 1, 2, 3. A faint hum filled the cabin. And then the lights flickered. The elevator stopped. Level 4. The door slid open, and the silence outside was suffocating. I stepped out quickly, clutching my keys between my fingers like a weapon. That's when I heard it. A soft scrape, metal on concrete. It echoed from somewhere near the far end of the garage, near my car. I froze, listened, but the sound didn't come again. I forced a laugh. Probably just pipes, or a loose sign. Still, my hand shook as I pressed the unlock button on my key fob. The car chirped once, headlights flashed. A weak comfort. I walked fast, my heels clicking too loudly. The sound seemed to chase me down the row. Then I saw it. At first I thought it was just another shadow. But no. Someone was standing near my car, perfectly still, their back turned to me. A man, tall, thin, hands buried in his coat pockets. My heart dropped. I slowed my steps, fumbled for my phone, but the signal bar was gone. The man shifted slightly, like he'd been waiting. I whispered, "Excuse me." No response. The parking garage suddenly felt colder. The fluorescent lights above buzzed faintly, and I realized he was standing right at the driver's side door, my door. I stopped, 20 feet away. Keys clenched so tightly they cut my palm. The man didn't move, didn't turn, didn't even breathe. Every instinct screamed at me. Leave. I took one step back, then another. And that's when he spoke. Quiet, calm, almost like a whisper meant for me alone. "You forgot something upstairs." I froze. His voice was dry, cracked, like it hadn't been used in years. I wanted to run, but my legs refused. How do you know that?" The words tumbled out before I could stop them. The man tilted his head, just slightly, enough for me to see his jawline. His lips curled into a faint smile. "You always forget." I spun around, ran back toward the elevator. My footsteps thundered against the concrete. The button lit red under my palm. The doors opened painfully slow. I jumped inside, hit lobby a dozen times, praying the doors would close before he followed. Finally, they did. But as the elevator descended, I heard it again. That scrape. Metal on concrete. Not from above. From the roof of the elevator. Something was moving with me. Riding down. I held my breath. The elevator jolted. Shuddered. Stopped. The panel read, "Basement." I hadn't pressed it. The door opened. Pitch black. The smell of oil and rust. I didn't step out. I couldn't. But then, A hand slid between the doors. Pale, long fingers, nails cracked. They forced the doors wider, and he was there, the man. But now, his eyes were open wide, unblinking, and his smile was too big, stretched inhumanly. "You left something," he whispered again. I screamed, slammed every button on the panel. The doors shut on his hand. But no blood, no resistance, just emptiness. The elevator rocketed upward, past floors, lights flashing one after another. When the doors opened again, I burst out into the lobby. The security guard jumped up from his desk, asked if I was okay. I wanted to tell him, but my throat locked. I just ran. Out of the building, across the street. Didn't stop until I was in a crowded diner 2 blocks away. Only then did I look down. In my hand, clutched between my fingers, wasn't my car key. It was a rusted, jagged key. Cold, heavy. Not mine. I quit that job 2 weeks later. Never set foot in that garage again. But when I finally worked up the courage to tell someone, the security guard leaned in close. He said I wasn't the first, not even close. Others had seen him. The tall man, the smile, the words. They say he waits in parking garages on Halloween night. Not to kill, not to chase, just to watch, to whisper, to remind you that you forgot something. And if you're foolish enough to go back upstairs, you don't come out again.
They call it an urban legend, a story kids whisper when they're walking home late. But I know it's real, because I was there. And I still see her face when I close my eyes. It was late, too late to still be driving. The highway stretched empty for miles, just me. Headlights cutting through the fog. I hated that road. Narrow, winding. Guardrails bent in places where cars had gone off. And then, the overpass. 2 crumbling pillars holding up a bridge no one seemed to use anymore. Rust eating the steel. Graffiti sprayed across the concrete. Locals called it the crossing. Said it was haunted. Said a girl had jumped from there years ago. But I didn't believe it. Not until that night. As I approached, I slowed down. Not on purpose, just instinct. The fog thickened. Headlights barely reached the railing above. And that's when I saw her, a girl, standing on the edge, both hands gripping the metal bar, hair hanging in her face. My chest tightened. I tapped the brakes, rolled down my window. "Hey!" I shouted. "Are you okay?" No answer. She didn't move. The car idled on the empty road. The hum of the engine felt too loud. I pulled over to the shoulder, heart hammering. If she jumped, I couldn't just drive away. The air was damp, cold against my skin. I crossed the road, walked toward the stairs that led up to the overpass. Each step creaked, metal groaning under my weight. I looked up once. She was still there, hands tight on the railing, head bowed. My voice shook. "Please, don't do this." Still nothing. I climbed faster. My footsteps echoed into the night. When I reached the top, the fog swallowed everything. The highway below disappeared into white, and she turned her head. Her face was pale, too pale, eyes wide, mouth slightly open like she was about to speak. But no sound came out. Not at first. She just stared, and then whispered, "You shouldn't be here." Her voice was wrong, flat, empty, like the words weren't hers. I swallowed hard. I just want to help. Her fingers tightened around the railing, knuckles bone white. You can't help me. I stepped closer, one arm outstretched. If you come with me, we can get you somewhere safe. That's when she smiled, slow, broken, like a crack spreading across her face. There's no safe place. Before I could react, she climbed over the railing, her bare feet balanced on the thin edge. "No!" I shouted. I lunged forward, but she let go. I screamed as her body dropped into the fog below. Silence. I stumbled to the railing, looked down. Nothing. Just thick, rolling fog. No sound of impact. No body on the road. Nothing. My whole body shook. I grabbed my phone, dialed 911 with trembling fingers, but the call didn't connect. No signal, only static. I raced back down the stairs, nearly slipped, my shoes scraping metal. When I reached my car, the headlights were still on, beams cutting into the fog, and then I froze. She was standing in the middle of the road, directly in front of my car. The same girl, same hair, same pale skin. Her head tilted to one side. Her lips moved silently. I locked the doors. My shaking hand turned the ignition. The engine roared. She didn't flinch, didn't move. I slammed my hand on the horn. The sound blared through the fog, echoed into the night, and she was gone, not ran, not faded. Gone. I drove, fast, didn't look back. Every curve in the road felt like a trap. Every shadow on the guardrail looked like her. By the time I reached the city limits, my knuckles were white from gripping the wheel. My chest ached, my head pounded. When I pulled into my driveway, I sat there for a long time, breathing, shaking. Finally, I forced myself out, locked the car, went inside. I told myself it was over, just shock, just exhaustion. But when I dropped my keys on the counter, something slid out of my pocket. A scrap of paper, crumpled, damp. I smoothed it out with trembling hands. One word, written in smeared black ink. Stay. I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. The next day, I told a coworker what happened. His face went pale. He asked me if I'd ever heard the story. Years ago, a girl really did jump from that overpass. Halloween night. Some say she was trying to get home. Others say she was running from someone. But they all agree on one thing. If you stop to help her, she follows you home. Not right away, not in daylight, but eventually. Always in the fog, always in the silence, always when you're alone, and she'll keep showing up. Until the night you finally listen, until you finally stay.